Have 3 items for action on our agenda. What are the wishes of our committee?
I'd move consent.
Second.
Any discussion? Is there anyone in the audience that would like any of those items pulled for discussion? Seeing none, call the roll.
Hadley,
Yes.
Rude,
Yes.
Shimento, Withers,
Yes.
Olson,
Yes.
Lehner.
Yes.
All right, we will call the airport director forward for his report.
Good afternoon. So I'm going to start today's presentation with some of the challenges that we've had in the month of December, and most of these are related to the temperature and the snow. The first of this was on December 10th. We had a freezing of our fire suppression, some valves in the fire suppression system, and you can see on this picture on the left up toward the top where pipes actually separated from each other, which caused quite a mess. And so in the center picture you see the tug tunnel that was filled with water, and then in the picture on the right you see the baggage claim area, which we had quite a bit of water in as well. So this has turned into an insurance claim. We had to have it professionally taken care of. This picture that you see on the right is one of our guys working on it before the professionals got there, just trying to keep it from moving on into the terminal. So this was an issue that we're looking at how to mitigate in the future. I think the problem is this took place in what we call the glycol room. It's a room that has a big garage door on it, and it faces north. And when you open the garage door, the pipes that you see on the left are exposed to all of that weather. And it's very cold in there. There's a heater in there, but it doesn't seem to keep up. And in talking with the architect, we're looking at some options as far as enclosing those pipes or making a separate room away from the glycol room so that we don't have that freezing issue again. Next video. I didn't realize that was going to start as soon as I clicked on it, but this I'll let you watch it for a second here.
Definitely get planes up and down this runway.
Yep, so here's the runway. This is 1331 at Minot. Yeah, so the pavement's not bad. It's just the wind, the visibility. So as you may or may not heard in there, that was our main runway. That was for the December 6th storm. And the reason I wanted to show that to you was just to give you kind of a flavor for what it looked like out on the airfield during that storm. And our responsibility, of course, is to make sure that everything is safe and that airplanes can land. And you can see that we did a pretty good job of keeping the pavement as bare and dry as we could, but the visibility was such that landing an airliner at 200 miles an hour in that would be a risky proposition. The airport was closed twice in the month of December. On December 6th, we closed it from 3 p.m. to 3 a.m., and then again on this latest, or not the latest storm, the December 26th storm, from 2:30 p.m. until 3 a.m. And in both of those instances, really visibility was a key issue there. I understand that it's been many years since the airport has actually closed, so I have the distinction of being the new airport director that comes in and closes the airport twice in one season so far. But I think it was really the right thing to do in both of those situations. Airlines had all canceled their flights for the day because they didn't have the visibility they needed. In the second storm, TSA couldn't get in, so we couldn't have it. Even if we had been open and if there had been airplanes flying, nobody could have gotten screened. So at that point, I think it's important to make sure that the other tenants of the building don't have to try and come in and work through that. So it also gives our crews the opportunity to get out there and get everything cleaned up for the opening time. And there we go. Okay, so our latest, or the third challenge for the month of December has been the snow load on the east side of the roof. And after the December 26th storm, we noticed in the TSA checkpoint area some cracking in the drywall. And that was right below this area that you see in the picture to the left, around these louvers that you see, the area that we call the penthouse that houses all the mechanical and HVAC equipment for the building. And so we looked at this snow load, and it was indeed impressive. We were concerned, obviously, about the safety of the building, about being able to occupy the building. We had a structural engineer from KLJ come out right away from Fargo, and as well, this building is insured by the North Dakota Fire and Tornado Fund, and we had somebody from their office come up from Bismarck to take a look as well. So the verbal conclusion, I don't have the engineer's stamped report yet, is that there was no structural damage to the building, that the building is designed to flex up to about 2 inches in this area with the metal joists, and these joists were deflecting, and that's what caused the crack in the drywall, but that there was no significant damage to the building. So that's kind of the first part of this issue. The second part of the issue, however, is what we're going to do long term about this. If you look at the corner where the mouse is here, so this is kind of facing northwest in this direction, and it appears to me that a lot of this snow is blowing from the northwest, losing velocity, and then dumping right in this area. So the concern is that, yes, that was a significant amount of snowfall to happen in one event, and probably not something you would plan on. However, it appears to me that snow doesn't melt very quickly around here, and we could certainly have 24 inches of snow over a season, and if all of those 24 inches are going to come over this area of the building, then that's a concern to me. So I'm waiting for the engineer report and recommendation, but I think that we're going to have a discussion with the architect and with the engineering firms to see if there's something that we can do to deflect wind in this area, or look at this design and see if this was well thought out in this area. So the one thing that the engineers did agree on was that we should get the load off as quickly as possible. So you'll see that we started out by doing it with our folks, and that is a janitorial tub that we usually use to empty the trash in the terminal, and we would fill those up, drag them across the roof, empty them, and then shovel them over the top. You'll see that our city manager came out to take a look, and that kind of gives you some perspective on the height of the Matterhorn-shaped pile of snow behind him. We estimate that to be about 10 feet tall. When I left the airport this afternoon, we had taken off approximately 45,000 pounds of snow off of that roof since last week. We did call on Friday outside help, and you'll see that on the picture to the right, where a crane was brought in, snow was put into a large canvas bag, if you will, and then hauled off the roof. It was a better way to do it than us shoveling it over the side onto the loading dock. So before I get into the numbers for the month, are there any questions on any of the weather issues that we had over the month?
Alderman Leitner.
Just an observation, because I told, what was his name, the architect? I told the architect that in the case of a severe snowstorm, with the curvature of the awning that comes out, we could always use that as a ski slope landing on the end. And I'm thinking we might have enough snow to actually make that come to fruition now, if we so desire.
Yes, Madam Chairman, Alderman Lehner, that's true. There are a lot of undulations, if you will, in the roof, and there are places where the snow is sticking. This is the worst. We do have another situation going on right now with the roof in the front of the building where there's an ice dam causing some leaking inside the building, and we've got folks looking at that too. But as interesting as the architecture is, there are some challenges we're finding out with the snow as well.
Any further questions weather related?
Okay, thank you. So I'll continue with our.
Lisa?
Oh,
Oh, I'm sorry.
Make a comment. Flat
Certainly.
roofs have the same problem. We've had a whole crew, I think 30 or 35 people on our roof at the school, dump and show snow off the edge. So it's
Right.
not only the curvy thing.
it's just a lot of snow.
Yeah.
Without a doubt.
All right, go ahead.
So in plane passengers for the month of November, the green line represents 2016. So you'll see that we were right at about 12,800 flat over October and down over 15 in previous years. Load factor, however, as I often indicate on this slide, is a different story. So the green line is the November or 2016 load factor. Load factor, again, is the percentage of seats that have been are occupied by revenue passengers on a flight, and this is an average. And so we're right at 85%, which is kind of ties our high for the year with August and is one of the highest load factors that we've seen. This is an indication that the carriers have right-sized, if you will, the number of seats that they're flying into. Why not? They feel like with an 85% load factor, they've got the right size aircraft and the right frequency. Car rental activity down slightly in November, as it typically is with the holiday months there, but pretty much right on par at $400,000 with where we were last year in 2015. The concession activity continues to do well. The green line is, again, 2016, right over $80,000 for the month, which is our best month ever, excluding March of this year, which I wasn't here in March of this year. I have no idea how we got to $90,000 unless we had, again, some maybe outside activity there where they catered something. I don't know, but this was a good month. The purple line indicates our minimum annual guarantee, so that's where we get paid no matter what, depending on their sales. But anything above that is extra money for us. Those are my prepared remarks. I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Any other questions for the airport director? Mr. Rood.
Do you keep track of the revenues that we're getting from the parking?
Madam Chairman, Mr. Rood, indeed we do. And typically it grosses about $400,000 a month minus the management fees. So we pay Republic Parking to manage our parking.
In our net?
Our net is $280,000.
Is it staying pretty level, or where are we at on that? When you go by, it seems there to be more vehicles there now, but I'm just kind of curious how we're doing on that.
Yeah, actually, our parking
plan?
revenue is doing very well, and it might be a slide that you'd be interested in seeing in the future.
It'd be good to see where we're at on that. Are we keeping where we're budgeting, or where are we at? Are we above or below?
We're above for the 2016 budget, and I can take a look at what we budgeted for 2017. I think we budgeted some some modest increases, but, you know, it's really based upon our planned passenger loads, which are not going up by much. What we budgeted for in a zero-based budget type situation for 2017, it doesn't go up a lot.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions for the airport director? No? Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you very much.
And with that, we are adjourned.